One of my favorite Steve Aoki songs. It is by Steve Aoki and Willie William. The song is called Mambo. But I'm going to go ahead and let Dane take it away, and we're getting started. Go ahead and tweet out the room if you're in. That way more people can join.
That song was amazing. I don't think I've heard that before. That was awesome. Hey, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Good Humans with WoW. As always, my name is Dane. I will be co-hosting tonight's episode. We are super lucky to have another amazing artist on this week to tell us their story. We are also lucky that this is another one of the Women in Weapon Patron Wallet artists, which is always a pleasure. Tonight, we will be sitting down with Matthew, a.k.a. Crown Syndrome. He is the creator of the Siberian Soliloquy NFT collection, which is a collection of 100 hand-drawn one-of-one portraits depicting inner thoughts and expression. He is also a painter, digital artist, and former architect. Matthew is actually one of the most unique artists we have had the pleasure of having on this show. His style and expression is truly his own and leaves his work, unmistakably embedded with his mark. This is a trait I've always admired in an artist, the ability to draw the viewer in with just a glance, which is so difficult to do. If you've seen their work before, you can't mistake it for anyone else's, even if you've never seen the piece. His work obviously caught the eye of Sara, and as soon as they could, Women and Weapons bought into his Siberian Soliloquy collection, and things, as they say, are history. So tonight we will get the chance to hear more about Matthew's story and find out more about his project, future plans, what led such a unique artist on this path that has actually led him here to today. And I hope you all enjoy tonight's episode. So without further fluff, I will send it back over to Sara and we will get tonight rolling.
Matthew, hello. It is so lovely to get to talk to you and hear your voice. I've been a very big fan for a long time. How are you, my friend?
Hello everyone. I'm really good. I just finished my coffee. Thank you, Dane, for the cool introduction.
Absolutely, man.
We're also, I'm glad for what you said, and I'm glad that you people like my work and connect with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I am truly in love with it, and I cannot wait to dig in a little bit deeper and kind of learn a little bit more about your inspirations and how you got into this space. If you're ready.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, hey, quick heads up. We are it's just going to be me and Sara tonight. Jake's dealing with some sort of external stuff and working on Women and Weapons, so I know how busy they are. So it's just going to be me and Sparky, okay, guys?
Yeah, Jake and I are traveling this week, and we've got like 1,000,001 things to do. So he is off on the other work things.
No surprise.
Well, Matthew, first and foremost, where are you based out of?
Because many of you are not familiar with me, because I'm not in general go publicly about myself. I told you when you messaged me, I think it was 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more an introverted person. Yeah, actually, I'm an artist born and raised in Romania. I'm currently living in Bucharest.
Wow.
And I moved to Bucharest 9 years ago when I started the university,
Wow. Okay, so what I've heard is that Bucharest is absolutely gorgeous. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think I might be right.
It is. It used to be called Little Paris, but in terms of how the urban landscape it's changing now, it's shifting. I don't know, it's kind of industrial in a way. I'm more attracted to the natural landscape in Romania. I would recommend for everybody that is visiting Romania to go and travel, to see the countryside.
Absolutely.
I'm more spectacular. More industrial in the area that you're at.
Yeah, because imagine I don't know how many of you know, but Romania used to be under the communist regime in the past,
Mm-hmm.
So that ended 30 years ago, and it was a wild west, for a while after the regime ended. And now people are taking, advantage of it and are trying to are going into tech. So it's going and evolving, but not necessarily in a good way. It's not fully under control.
Gotcha.
Very, very interesting. Well, I can certainly connect with you on that front, being that my mom is an immigrant from Iran, and most of my family still lives there. So I very much understand that sentiment. But I'd like to learn a little bit more about your story. How did you become an artist, and how long have you been an artist as well? Please tell us a little bit more about your background, like your architectural background.
Uh, yeah, I think I've started to take drawing more seriously when I was around 7 years old. I know that I started some courses after school, like painting and drawing courses, but I was in a way like the black sheep of the class because I remember I didn't like at all to draw, starting from a subject that the teacher would give us, you know. So I always end up doing things and drawing stuff from my head, like from my imagination. But
Yeah.
after 2 years, I quit like that school because in Romania there are called like school of arts. It's not like a real school. You can go like to do after hours and stuff like that, you know,
Oh,
after
okay,
you finish
yeah,
the school.
yeah. We have
Is it
some
kind of
things like
like
that
a
in the
trade
U.S.
school?
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
So you've been doing art since you were young, I would assume.
Yeah. Like I
Okay.
said, I started like when I was 7 years old, and fast forward when I got into high school, I
Okay.
also got into the graffiti culture, which was a
Oh,
major turning point for me. I was like sitting in front of the computer for hours. I was searching for other artists, documentaries about the movement, online magazine, like everything I could find. And this passion of mine was a bit concerning for my parents because at the core graffiti, it's considered to be illegal, you know, but I
yes.
managed to stay in a safe zone. So it
It
was
has
actually cool.
a sort of an odd idea behind it because I think people sometimes get the wrong idea behind graffiti because there are spaces that you can go that it's not, like illegal. You're not defacing property. It really is a true artistic expression in a lot of ways.
Well, and I think graffiti nowadays is really being accepted as a very real art form. I mean, you see so many buildings
Hmm.
nowadays that are famous because of the graffiti that's on them. Like for example, in Austin, people photograph themselves all the time in front of some of the popular graffiti. So that's really cool to hear that you kind of started out in that graffiti culture.
Yeah, it's cool in a way, but in the same time, like if you're doing this for a long period of time, then you want to go publicly,
Yeah.
police might come over, you know, after you because they have like graffiti departments in other countries. In Romania, it's not necessarily a problem, but I know that it's a major problem in other countries. So like
Interesting.
you build up your name, like a name for yourself, but when you go publicly, they immediately come over you, you know, to pay for the damages you did and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the things.
So
It's
I
like
have a
Banksy, right? He was able to stay under the radar for a very long
yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Sort of built
Banksy
his
did
brand.
even more. Like, for example, it's a major attraction in the UK. They even protect everything that he's doing.
Yeah, and it
Very
builds
neat.
the brand, the mystique behind it. It's almost
Yes.
that cat and mouse thing, which is really, really cool. But yeah, you do run that risk if you are defacing property. It could come back and bite you.
Well, that leads me to another question. Is it legal for y'all to like approach a business owner that owns, a business within a brick and mortar building and ask them if you can paint an art piece on the side of their building? Is that allowed?
Yeah, it's allowed. I think.
Okay.
I don't know if you necessarily like need a specific permit. I
Okay.
think you just need to have an agreement with the building owner.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and
Now,
I'm sure there's spaces you can go that are completely, every city has some dilapidated areas where people go and practice, and you see like
Yeah,
50 layers of graffiti paint over on top of each other where, 50 artists have come through and done it.
yeah, it's happening the same here. It's more like into industrial areas, you know, like
Yeah, I noticed that you said that the industrial area. I was like, okay, I bet he's going to mention getting into the graffiti aspect of things. And so you did the graffiti aspect. You were doing art from a very young age. You were doing sort of this trade school thing where you're getting more and more work at night. How did you transition into getting into architecture, and sort of where was your college time, and a little bit more your adult area?
yeah. It's also related to graffiti actually because I'm starting to get into contact with other graffiti artists, from my area, and exchange ideas. It was like an important part for me, because I understand what being part of a community means. Like, I got introduced to other things as well, not only like graffiti related stuff, like different music genres, movies, books, and all of my friends like choose like a path in creative domains, like into design, advertising, and so it was natural for me. Like, I choose architecture because I think in a way I was fascinated by the old buildings. I remember that I used to walk down the old town area, to check the details, and it's cool in a way because every time it's like you discover something new if you check up the details.
I totally agree with you
Yeah.
about that. That's one of my favorite reasons for traveling, is because I love looking at the architecture in different countries. Like, for example, there's this building near us in Dallas that's like this brutalist style architecture, but I also love the Gaudi architecture that's in Spain. I love the ancient architecture that I've seen in Istanbul. But I also love like mid-century and modern architecture. I think it's its own art form for sure. Um,
Yeah.
what would you say your favorite style of architecture, the style that you worked with the most, was?
Mm, I don't necessarily have like a certain style that I would prefer, because in a way I was introduced to so many currents and I have so many things that I like I can put my finger on one thing. But in general, for example, like an architect that I really love, it's Rem Koolhaas, also Renzo Piano. But in the same time, I'm attracted to old architecture as well, uh, I'm really liking these guys that are doing restoration and try to integrate like the old buildings in the new landscape and stuff like that. Like, I think it's important to acknowledge the history and, like, for example, to pay respect when you're trying to do something new as an architect,
I
and to
totally
see,
agree with you
yeah,
on that. That's actually something I saw a lot of in Malta. Whenever I went to Malta, I noticed that there were brand new buildings that were literally adjacent to ancient buildings, and I thought it was really neat how the architect respected that current, or the architecture that was already there, by kind of mirroring it with their new architecture. So that was something that was really interesting. Real quick, I'm going to reset the room. This is Good Humans with Women and Weapons, and we have Crown Syndrome, or Matthew, here with us tonight. We collected one of his pieces for the Women and Weapons patron wallet, and if you'd like to check out some of his work, I have it pinned to the top of the room here. So go ahead and check it out. I am absolutely in love with it, and he has a really interesting story. So please do feel free to share this room with your friends. We'd love more people to jump in.
Yeah, absolutely, and give his art a shout out because it really is, like I said in the intro, super unique, which is really cool. Um, so Matthew, I guess it's interesting because you said that you were on the architecture path, which to me would make me assume that your art would be very different. Your art is very organic. It has a lot of line work, but it's got more form and shape to it. There's not a lot of depth perception and vanishing points, and something that I would more lean into from an architect. But how did this transition into getting you into the NFT space with the art that you're doing?
yeah, I think this is like another part of me, because after I got admitted to the university, like it was like a 6 years journey. I finished, I took my master in architecture, but
Yeah.
right before the pandemic hit, like, I went with my gut feeling and I opened with my girlfriend a graphic design studio. So
Wow.
because during those 6 years, yeah, I started to have a passion for graphic design, which also put like a shadow over my passion for architecture. So
Just a little
now,
So
different, yeah.
interesting.
yeah, so now I'm more like a graphic designer than an actually architect. My
You
style,
really have a
like,
broad spectrum of skill
yeah,
set then, which I think helps lends itself to more creativity in your art for sure.
yeah, it's a different part of me. I think it's natural in a way that they look this organically, and they are you know, let's say in a way instinctive, you know. I don't think too much. Like I just draw like to when I finish my job at the studio, I start drawing for myself. Like no brief, no deadline, nothing. It's
Yeah,
just me and my thoughts. I put some music on and that's all.
totally
So
get
I
that.
have to say that I really, really respect you because I think abstract is extremely difficult to achieve and to achieve well. I know for myself, abstract is something that I actually really struggle with. Like, I tend to lean towards realism, like always. And then I try and do abstract and I try to make everything too perfect. So I so respect you on that front. That is really neat. But I am wondering, like, what medium do you use for your art pieces? Are they painted? Are they digital? Like, what is the medium?
In general, lately the ones that I put on Tezos blockchain are mainly digital, but the Siberian Soliloquy, for example, it's like a mixed medium because it's part of a scan picture drawing, you know, like I create my textures, I try
Yeah.
to create as many brush as I can to achieve like that natural feeling, you know, like a real drawing would have.
That's amazing because I
Yeah,
actually
so
thought that
it's more
maybe
like a collage, yeah.
yeah, that's awesome because I actually thought maybe these were done with like pastels or something like that. I mean, so the work that
Yeah.
you've put in to achieve this look is really impressive. I mean, you've done an absolute masterful job with it.
Yeah, and
Thank you,
getting
thank you.
the expression out of it, like I said, the uniqueness in your work, it's not easy, especially in abstract work. Sometimes it can get lost in what you're doing if it's not landing with the audience. But I think you've done a good job of representing emotion, representing line work and emotion in your line work, and some depth there. And like I said, you really can recognize it from afar, which is it's. I mean, that's an amazing quality to have on your art. And some
Definitely has
people
your
spend their
signature.
yeah, people spend their whole lives trying to figure out how to get people to recognize them. So
Yeah, I think the most important aspect is to try, you know, like if you do this every day, at some point you're gonna achieve it. It's not been like easy for me because I used to be like so much into realistic, you know, like drawings, and because I do
yeah,
so many architecture drawings, like perspective and stuff like
yes,
that, like my mind started to have like this way, let's say, like a rigid
yeah, of
think
course.
way of thinking, you know,
Yeah.
like I would look
It
like
had to
for the
look right.
perfection. Yeah,
Perspective
so
has
Yes.
to look right.
this is
That's
a way for me to escape from that.
that is so cool because like I said, I am definitely more of that kind of like rigid brain whenever it comes to my artwork. I have a very hard time doing abstract artwork. And so for you to be an architect where you kind of come from that like rigid realistic world and to be able to create something so organic makes me think that, this is something that was very innate within you, something that you had a natural gift for.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. Definitely trying to
Now,
get out. Yeah, how did so what was the jump? I think we kind of got off track there, but what was the jump into the NFT space from architecture?
Yeah, regarding the NFT space, I think it was around September last year when I really started like to discuss with my girlfriend about it, like,
Yeah,
and we both jump in the same time and start putting our work out, you know. It was something
she's an artist as
spontaneous.
well.
Yeah, she's actually doing way better than me, and I'm very proud of her. Some of you might know her from the space. It's Bianca, also known as Pellet Box.
oh, yes,
Yeah,
I'm very familiar with her. Okay, yeah.
that is
Yeah.
awesome.
So we knew about the concept of NFTs before, and I think it was around 2019 when I really first read about it. And it was shortly after I started investing into crypto, you know. But
Hmm.
I stumbled across some weird sites that I was a bit afraid, like for example, to connect my wallet, and I even
Yeah.
remember that it was a little bit expensive in the beginning. I think you should pay like 100 bucks for each mint or something like that.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, so I stay focused like on building up the studio and getting clients and stuff like that. I never regret it. Like I don't regret it because I didn't do it earlier. I don't didn't jump in the space earlier because I think like everything it's happened with a reason at the right time. You know.
Yeah. No, I
I
totally agree.
so totally am with you on that. I think that things happen for a reason and they happen at the right time for a reason as well. I've noticed that you're getting into some animated artwork. Like one of your most recent pieces is actually animated. So could you tell us a little bit more about that? Like, is that something you're wanting to explore a little bit more?
Yeah, I wanted to explore that for a while, but I never had like the necessary time to do it. So I'm just taking like small steps because I'm trying like to get a little bit out of my comfort zone, you know, because as I said, like I'm a little bit like an introverted person. I'm not, you know, I like to do something that it's clear for me. So this is the way that I'm trying to push my boundaries, you know, like to evolve as a professional and as a person.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can totally relate to that.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think as an artist too, like you kind of always have to push your boundaries and just see how far you can go.
Hmm.
Because I think that's a big part of what art is kind of pushing yourself to the limits, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Not gonna know what you're capable of until you do it. Not like you said, jumping in to the NFT space in and of itself is pushing your boundaries. It really is, because like you said at the beginning, it's expensive. There's things that are always changing and it changes fast. And so, just the way that you've sort of dipped into several different areas within the art space, I think definitely shows within your work. And so I'd love for you, if you could go a little bit more into sort of the idea behind this specific NFT project that Sara bought into. Tell us about your collection, tell us about your old one, if you have a new one, or anything that's upcoming.
Yeah, the first collection, the Siberian Soliloquy, like it represents the beginning of my journey into this space. Like, I think it's gonna be like my only black and white collection. I would try to keep it like this because the concept behind it gravitates around this idea that in our recent history, like every device that had a display started with a black and white screen, you know? Like the
That's
first
interesting.
TV had black and white images, so it fell naturally for me, like for my first collection, because like it's a medium that it's displayed on screens, like it's something really digital.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
Cool.
I
is
think it's
really,
a
really
funny twist.
clever.
Yeah.
No, and you know what? That's something that I wouldn't have known until I had the opportunity to talk to you. And now that you say that, like I immediately thought back to my very first cell phone that was a black and white pixelated screen, and like
Yeah.
the only thing you could do with it was play Snake and call your mom, and that was about it.
Yes. I remember that.
That's awesome. I love that. So going forward, probably more color, I assume, right?
Yeah, now I'm starting to do more colored pieces. Like I'm minting on known origin. Also, I'm gonna put something on foundation, and I'm also on the Tezos blockchain because I wanted like to have a platform that it's more affordable to people. You know, like
Yep,
I got
totally.
some DMs and everybody was waiting for the gas prices to drop. So I think
Hmm.
this was the best medium for me, like to put something out there for the ones that can't afford like to pay
That's
gas
clever.
fees.
Very clever. Now, I
Yeah.
see Mystic Man is a one of one piece. Are you planning on doing another collection of animated pieces?
I
Oh, that
don't
would be
know for
cool.
sure. Yeah, I was thinking about it, but for example, that it's a frame by frame animation because I'm not really good at animator, so I mainly use Photoshop for that.
Oh, interesting.
And I almost draw each frame at a time. So
Is
it's
that
taking
super
me.
painstaking? Does that take forever?
I do enjoy it in a way, you know, like it's funny because first you start to get anxious, like you want to finish it, but after a while you get used to it, so you don't
Yeah.
realize when the time passes by.
Yeah, well, if you love what you're doing, yeah, you never work a day in your life. So
Well, and I feel like whenever I make art, I always get super antsy because I'm like, I just want to know what it's going to look like when it's finished, you know?
yes, I
And so I
know.
like start to kind of rush through my pieces. And then usually I get towards the end and I'm like, okay, now I have to go back and add all these details because it
I
just didn't
know.
turn out the
Detail,
way that I
detail,
wanted.
detail.
Yes, exactly. So, what are the programs that you use mostly? I heard Photoshop, but what else?
Illustrator, Photoshop, and that's
Okay.
all, actually, yeah.
You never use Procreate or anything?
No, I'm planning to start using
Very
Procreate, yeah.
interesting. I'm really impressed on like how organic you're able to create using Photoshop and Illustrator.
Yeah,
That is absolutely fascinating.
it doesn't come across like extremely digital or extremely rigid or anything like that, which sometimes you can it's immediate. You know, you can tell immediately. So yours, it really does take you time to look at the work. And I mean, if you'd have just asked me at a quick glance, I would have been like, oh, I did it with charcoal and pencil, you know, on paper.
Well, speaking of charcoal and pencil, I actually was curious, like, what are your what is the word? I guess non-digital favorite
Real life
mediums to use.
mediums.
Real life
Yeah,
mediums. There we go.
I
IRL
think
mediums.
like paint markers and pastels in
Yeah,
general.
I love
Very
pastel.
interesting.
Yeah, because it's hard to like draw with charcoal, you know, like you need to be careful, like really careful.
Well,
It
I will
gets
tell you right now,
everywhere.
Dane is a master of charcoal. I have no capability or skill whatsoever with pastel or charcoal, so I will leave that one to you two.
Well, I think like you said, it's extremely difficult. If you're not careful, it will get in your nose and your mouth and your lungs if you're working with like a big piece. But the benefit is if you do it in a certain way, you can have an additive reductive method where you're covering an entire canvas in a grayscale, and then you're able to make these super defined white eraser marks and then deepen it with darker more and more charcoal, and it creates
Mm-hmm.
some really cool form. But from just an outside perspective, it's not as easy. It's messy.
Yeah, it's an art that you have to master, like
Mm-hmm.
you need
Yeah.
to practice daily.
Yes. And I don't know that I can get into it, mostly because when my hands get super dirty, I kind of freak out a little bit, but I will
And your
definitely.
cats
Yeah, and I have cats, and like next thing I know,
be
I'm gonna
all
have
over that.
charcoal all over the house. But I do want to let you know you have another massive fan, and that person is actually my mother. She is unbelievably in love with your artwork. So one of these days, I'm gonna have to buy an IRL piece of yours so that she can put it in her house because she wants to hang one of your pieces on the wall. Something awful.
Oh, this is so sweet. This
Oh,
is so cool. Like,
shush.
yeah,
She's the
Yes, my
sweetest, man.
mother.
I'm telling you.
I want to say your piece was like maybe the third or fourth piece that we purchased for the Women and Weapons patron wallet. And I think the second my mom saw your piece, she goes, "Oh my God, Sara, I need to have this piece." And I was like, "Mom, this is for the patron wallet. I don't think you can have this one, but I'll definitely reach out and see if we can get you like an in real life piece or something for you to put on the
oh,
wall."
for sure. Yeah, you can count on me. I'm gonna send you something.
Oh
That's
my gosh, you're
awesome.
the best. Well, I guess one of the last questions that we have on our end is what are some things that you could teach some of our community or advice you have for people in the NFT space?
Yeah, I'm not like an expert, but I would say like not to be afraid to be yourself. You know, like to go out in the space, support, discover artists and people that you really like in the space. Do your own research, like everybody's telling you, and connect with people. You know, people around you. I'm like planning to be in the space. Like for me, I'm planning to stay in the space for the long term. So it's more important like to connect with people and exchange ideas than the financial gains. Like I'm not interested in
Yeah.
that part. I like the
Yes.
community and everything that I discovered so far. Like I'm very grateful for all the friends that I've made in the space. You guys actually helped me a lot when you bought that
That's
piece of
amazing.
mine. Yeah.
That makes me so unbelievably happy to hear because that's the whole purpose of the patron wallet is to provide artists that are, you know, working on getting visibility, provide you guys a platform to be able to share your artwork and your story because I feel like it adds a whole additional layer to artwork when you hear that artist's story and their purpose behind the artwork. So I'm super happy to hear that happened and I'm just unbelievably grateful that you were willing to come up tonight and chat with us.
Yeah, because it's true. Like it's a major point for artists. They need to be out in the space, even if they are not minting anything at the moment. Just stay in the space, like connect,
Yes.
see what's happening next. Because I don't think it's just like one thing. You know, like it's gonna be for 2 or 3 years. I think it's like a long-term idea. Even if the whole idea shifts like into another thing, like to connect real art objects like in real life with a smart contract, but I'm sure it's gonna be there like for the long term.
Yes, no, and that's
Yeah.
something that I think we with Women and Weapons are considering as well is that, we're thinking years into the future over here. We're not just thinking weeks into the future. And I think that this NFT space is going to have a lot to offer. And it could change in very many winding ways, and we're here to be a part of it and adapt and think further and further out for sure.
Totally agree. I think and like you said, the community, man, it really is. Sarah knows this. I am an introvert, and Matthew, you said that you sort of were too, and it's like I've been so happy engaging with the community. Maybe it's women and weapons. Maybe I'm in a little bit of an isolated area, but I mean, really and truly, it's so easy. They want to help, they want to engage, and I think having that mindset of being there for the community and things will come. The work that you put in will come, and you're a testament to that. And I think I really appreciate that. The way that you think about it is extremely helpful too. For everyone to keep in mind. And I actually had one more question. I wanted to know. So you said you did architecture, you did graffiti, you have your graphic design work with your girlfriend. What do you have, like a 5-year plan of what you're gonna do? Do not just NFTs, but what are you sort of working on going forward?
Yeah, for the long term, like I don't think like I'm gonna quit doing what I'm doing for the moment, like the graphic design, because it's something that I also build up, So I'm
Yeah,
thinking that I'm gonna do both in a way,
absolutely.
because
Good for you.
NFTs are part of my free time, let's say. Like it's my way to escape from the clients, because
Yeah.
before the NFTs, I used to work like a lot, like I wasn't having like a schedule, like a fixed schedule. So I end up having this sort of burnout episodes, like, which it's not a good idea to do it like
Yeah.
that. You
Yeah,
need
there's
to
no
take a
longevity
break,
when you have
I
burnout.
totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to stay healthy, like to be active and do things that you really, really like, because sometimes like you might not enjoy a project, but you need to do it. You can't say no, even if you're in the beginning. Like it's important to take projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you ever think about going back to architecture?
I might go, but not for the moment. Like
Yeah.
I don't like the environment for the moment. Like I don't like what they are doing now. I'm more into restoration, but it's not actually a cool thing now. Everybody wants to build like office building and stuff like that, like
So it's
residentials
not
and
like a
big
rewarding type
projects.
of architecture.
Yeah, for me it's not actually, because it's more like you're putting like pieces together. You're not creating something. There's no concept around it.
I
So
totally understand that. My original degree plan was actually to be an architect, and I veered off. I went into the graphic design area. It's kind of weird. I didn't even realize how many similarities there were in sort of the path we took. I think you've been a little more successful at them. You've actually done them, but I sort of weaved in and out of that too. And you find that it's in some of the parts of architecture, like my cousin, he works and does really creative stuff on homes for very wealthy people and gets to create. But a lot of it can be very, very monotonous, which is it's hard. I totally get that if you don't have the creative outlet, for sure.
yeah, for sure. Like I don't regret it. Like I prefer to be like a professional risk taker, because like freelancing has this sort of uncertainty instead of having like a job like with a fixed schedule and doing architecture and doing something that I might not like, because in the beginning you're gonna be like a drafter. You're not gonna create something new.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Well, again, Matthew, we really appreciate you having here. I think what we're going to do now is we're actually going to open the floor up to questions from the audience.
Cool.
Again, guys, if you're, a little shy and you don't want to get up here and ask a question, obviously you can post it in Discord. Sarah will be combing through those and make sure to ask. And this is honestly a great opportunity. Someone who is, really, really creative artist, really, really putting their work out there and doing something that's unique and different. So it's a good chance to be able to ask any questions, maybe where he's in the NFT space or whatever else you might want to hop up here and ask. So feel free.
And I actually have another question real quick for you. Are you planning to come stateside to the United States at any point in time for one of the conferences that we have going on this year?
I was planning to do like a visit, but I don't know when because I need to take my visa. Like me and Bianca like have some really good friends in California. They moved from Romania, and I think they have been living there for about 5 years. So at the point we are gonna coming to visit like the United States. We want to do that, but
Woo!
yeah,
We're
I let you
ready
know,
for it.
guys. I let you know, yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I can see your artwork at Art Basel right now. I went to Art Basel this past year. Although I think there's Art Basel in Europe. Am I correct on that?
I don't know for sure. I need to check it, yeah, but I don't know.
Well, I really
That's a
think your work
point.
your work needs to be displayed there. I mean, it is so incredible, truly. Have you done any art shows?
Yeah, I actually did one. Like it was for an experimental theater here in Bucharest. But the funny story is that I didn't even go to the opening. Like I went there the second day just to be like an observer, like because I think you can see like the real and the honest reaction of the people when they don't know the
That's
artist.
a good point.
Like yeah. So it's funny in a way, like.
So were you walking through and like nobody knew that it was you?
Yeah,
Oh,
because I don't
that's gotta
like to
be
post my face,
nerve-wracking.
so yeah, I have like a separate account for my private life and another one for the artist. Like I
Oh
don't
no,
have
I should have
necessary
done
like
that.
yeah, I don't have like a problem with this, but I think it gives you an advantage in a way.
No,
That is
yeah,
really,
I
really
agree.
interesting. Well, and I think sometimes too, like, I think sometimes whenever you are like not showing your face or not sharing your name, sometimes you feel a little bit more freedom from the like the negative comments, I guess, if that makes any sense. So it kind of gives you a little bit more creative freedom.
Yeah, for sure.
Very interesting. Yeah, no, I love that. I actually really commend you on doing that because I know a lot of people do kind of want the fame that's associated with having their face and their name known, but you also see people like Banksy who have been wildly successful, and people don't know his name or his face, or even if it is in fact a he or a she.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Do you
so
think that
yeah.
that played into you keeping those two things separate? Your background in sort of the graffiti scene and having to kind of almost forcibly keep that separate?
In a way, yeah, because I don't want people to be interested like in me for what I'm doing, like to be more interested in me for my persona or what I'm saying. So I know it gives you like this advantage that I really like. Like Banksy might be like a small influence for me, but there are a lot of the other artists that are doing the same, even in the music scene.
Yeah, no, that's
No? Yeah.
definitely true. Like, I think her name was Sela. She didn't necessarily like
Sia?
hide her. Sia, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
She didn't
I
necessarily
remember
like
that.
hide her identity, but it was somewhat obscured.
Did she have
And I
that
think
that young dancer who that she used as
yes,
sort of like
Yeah,
all focused on
yes,
her?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it adds mystique. It adds I wish I'd have done that. I was a little too blatant. Hey, this is Dane. I'm gonna release an art
create an
piece.
alias, go under another name, test this.
I can't now. If they
it's
don't like
it's
my
all out
artwork,
there at
then
this
I'm
point,
like,
right?
yeah, it's a
Well,
little late.
and I think you have something there where sometimes if people aren't as focused on the person who's behind the artwork, then there's a stronger focus on the artwork itself, and kind of the message that the artwork is delivering. So I definitely I hear you on that front, and I commend you on that for sure.
Matthew, can I just say before we wrap up that Bucharest is gorgeous.
Well, now I
I
have to
had no
Google
idea.
it.
I want to go visit,
Yeah,
man.
try
It
to.
really does kind of look like a small Paris.
You should check for Transylvania. It's even better.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would okay, I'm a huge fan of the Dracula books.
Let's do it.
So I'm ready for like Romania, Transylvania, all of them like right now.
Such beautiful
Yeah, it's actually
architecture, man. I get
inspired
it.
by a dictator that used to be in Romania. It's called Vlad Dracul.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
Super familiar. Oh my
Yeah,
God, Romania is gorgeous. I'm Googling it right now. But Matthew, I really, really hope that you can go ahead and get your visa so that you can come stateside at some point
for
in time
sure. Yeah,
to one of these conferences or one of these art
Yeah.
shows, something of that sort. I'd love to get to meet you in real life at some point in time.
Then we'll
I'd
know who
love
you
to
are.
meet you also. Yeah, no, I'm gonna stay like undercover. I'm gonna.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to wear like a full, I don't know,
Yeah.
mascot suit or something, feel free to do so.
That would be
Whatever.
hilarious.
I just look forward to like maybe sitting down and having like a coffee. We can have yours through a straw or something.
Yeah, voice encoder
Chit-chat.
or whatever.
Well, my friend, do you have any final things to say to our crowd before we jump off? And real quick, this show is recorded, so if anybody did miss it, you will. Oh, we've got somebody who's requested to come on for a question.
I'll let them up.
So real quick, anybody who's missed the show, if you were over in another country and it was late, anything like that, you will be able to re-listen back into it later on. And backseat drivers, I believe you have a question, my friend.
Yeah, I love these things that you do, and I think I missed the last one, but yeah, I'm a fan, and I love when I get to buy something because I like the art, and now that I like the artist because I got to hear some things, it was great. So I just want to say thanks for coming.
Thank you also.
Awesome.
And I see your PFP is a Crown piece as well.
I had to get a couple.
I think you just earned some brownie points on the show. That's for sure.
I like when I like the art. You know, my brother has one of your Genesis things, those, and I have a regular guy, and those are awesome. And I like when I like the art. You know what I mean? It means a little more than, oh yeah, they have a P2E game next week. You know, I'm not.
Totally understand. Yeah, I get that
100%. And it sounds corny these days, like, oh, the art's cool. That's like a joke when people say it. And I like when it's serious. And I like when it's actually real.
Yes. So. I totally am with you on that front. Clearly, I'm a huge art buff, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate it. I'm a supporter.
Well, thank you so much, friend. We really appreciate it.
Okay. I hope you enjoy some waffles tomorrow, Sarah.
Thanks, friend. I appreciate you. Have a good one. Actually, now that he came up, I have another quick question. Are you able to directly download your art pieces, like after you purchase it, to print it to be framed on the wall or anything?
I don't have a link, but everybody can DM me, so it's not a problem for me. I'm open to the DMs, you know, even if it's for exchanging ideas. You can send me DMs anytime.
And
awesome.
like, what size would people be able to print those art pieces at if, say, they wanted to do that?
In general, I have like high qualities. Like, I think you can do like 1 meter to 1 meter, the square ones. Like they are really in high quality because I like it to have them in this way. Even the platform, it's not gonna show the full quality, you know, but for me, it's important.
No, I agree. I
like
want to have
the textures and everything. Yeah.
Just looking down on me.
As soon as Jake and I get a house, we are definitely going to get one to blow up and put on the wall for sure. And I'm going to have to get my mother as well.
It feels like that kind of art. Like you would want to have it kind of up and frame it, and I think that's another unique part about the piece is though it is in the NFT space, it has sort of this quality that you want to see it out. You want to see it in, you know, like in a show or in a museum or something like that. It really does have that quality. And again, testament to you, man, the work you put into it and the creativity behind it. I said it in the intro, really and truly one of the more unique artists that I've seen. And I can't wait to, you know, see you continue in the space and watch you grow, and hopefully the graphic design thing takes off. I hope you get back into architecture and build some more cool stuff in Bucharest because it's absolutely gorgeous there. But yeah, for real, man, we really appreciate it.
And I will let you know whenever I come to Bucharest because I'm adding it to my travel list. I don't know if that's going to happen with how crazy everything is, but hopefully soon because it looks like an absolutely gorgeous place. And real quick, what time is it over there right now?
Yeah, it's actually the 9th of February. It's like 4 in the morning. So
Oh,
it's an
God
early
bless your
morning for
soul.
me.
No
So
That's
you
why I
had to wake
way.
up
started with the
uber
coffee.
early for this. I apologize.
No, it's not a
Wow.
problem for me. It's a problem actually because sometimes I miss a lot of great spaces, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in that night when you bought that piece of mine, like I was waking up and seeing so many notifications because I was actually sleeping, you know? And
Excellent.
another collector of mine that also owns woman weapons like sent me a message, like he told me like Sara talked about you in this space. So I was, oh my god, I missed this space also. So yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what? All of my patron wallet artists that I've collected y'all's art pieces, I am 100% y'all's number one fan. I will go
It's true.
around anywhere and everywhere and champion you all, share your names and your work with people, because that's a huge mission of mine, is to continue to provide you all with a platform and really help elevate you guys. And I want y'all to just be so unbelievably successful because you deserve it, because you're such good people and you're so talented.
Good
Thank you so
humans.
much.
Good humans.
I
Yes, good humans.
I don't want to upset anybody, but for me, like a personal opinion, for what I'm seeing in the space in general,
Hmm.
like I think the woman-driven projects are the best ones. You know, like they are really
Oh,
Oh.
community-based. No, I'm not trying to be that type of person, but they are really community-based. Like they manage to do so much out there. Like it's amazing.
thank
Like
you
we
so
all
much.
have something to learn from that. Like I'm a huge fan of what you are doing. I'm a huge fan of Betty. I'm a huge fan of what women's and weapons are doing, like the community, because I'm also on Discord, but I'm like an observer. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
Well,
Discord it's a whole nother thing. Like it's another level. Like if I go out for 5 minutes, I'm thinking like I lost everything. You know, like
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
it's
it can get
so quick.
definitely hairy in there, but no, I so appreciate you for saying that. That's something that I feel like a lot of our female led projects by some of these gals that I massively admire. I'm very happy to see how much all of us are doing in the space and trying to give back, because I really think that that's what it should all be about, is continuing to pay it forward and helping everyone succeed. I think that's a big part of what this space should be about.
Yeah.
Said it.
Well, my friend, thank you so much for coming on tonight. As I said, everybody, this show was recorded, so anybody who was unable to attend the space, you will be able to listen in later, and it will be uploaded to YouTube, hopefully within a week or so that everybody can share the link and tune in there as well.
Thank you also for inviting me, and I hope like everybody understood me because I'm sorry, but English is not like my native language.
Oh no, you are
You did
perfect, my friend.
amazing.
Yeah, you're doing great.
For real. Like I really, really. If anything, it made it better. You have a real cool accent.
Yes, I second that. Matthew, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I hope you get to go back to bed and get at least a few more
Yeah.
hours of sleep.
No, I think I'm gonna start working right away, you know, to have like a free day to
Good for you.
finish early.
There you go. That's the way to do it. Well, everybody, thank you all for tuning in, and
Thanks.
we will see you all next Tuesday on Good Humans with Women and Weapons. And I wish you all a wonderful evening or morning or afternoon wherever you are.